morning, everyone. My name is Ron Campbell. They call me the Eccentric Inventor on YouTube. Everyone has experiences, and I would highly encourage you to talk to your grandparents, your parents, and learn the stories about your family to pass on. And I'm going to give you a bunch of little stories because the thing is so complicated and so long it's getting mind-boggling. But after what President Trump said a few weeks ago and what he said this morning that I saw on TV, where he had said that we don't worry about any threats that are out there. They have no idea in terms of what we've got basically available to defend themselves. And this, I'm going to take your story back to 1969 when I was ready to graduate from the University of Maine, becoming an industrial arts teacher. But it's the events that started this whole thing, where I was in Portland, Maine with my good friend Terry Everett, who's a biochemist and a herpetologist. When we were in college, we had in my bedroom diamondback rattlesnakes in a cage in there. I drew the wrong straw, and there were 4 of us who rented an apartment in college. That's a whole other story. But the story starts there. And I'm going to have to break this into pieces because it's just too complicated, too friggin' weird. It involves with UFOs, circumstances, stories, and a psychic from Maine who was invited by the President of the United States to Roswell, New Mexico. And you can put the pieces together on that one. But what happened was, we were sitting in this restaurant called Coyne's Restaurant at Whitford's Corner, about 5 blocks from where I grew up. And Terry and I were sitting there, and all of a sudden this man came walking in through with a little bit of eyeshadow on me. It turns out, eventually I found out it was actually from Lebanon. It was a very famous psychic. We didn't know that. Came walking by our booth, and he looked over and he said, "Hi, Terry." That's my friend Terry sitting across from me. This is where it gets weird. Terry looks at me and he says, "Do you know who that is?" I said, "I think that's Dr. Alex Tanis." I had never met the man before. I didn't know who he was, and all of a sudden that's what came to my mind. And that's the way it was. And Terry just looked at me. Now, that was 1969. This is 2025. I talked with Terry a few weeks ago and asked him, "Do you remember what happened in a restaurant in Portland, Maine?" He remembered the whole story in terms of what happened with Dr. Tanis, we didn't know who was at the same time. Now I'm going to do this, not any longer on this one, but I'm going to do some shorter videos because I know that they shut us down after a certain period of time. But the pieces that come together are going to make you actually feel more comfortable in terms of working with President Trump, in terms of what he knows and what I know.